Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Mr. Bass. Today, me and Joe are out here. We're going to try to see if we can get some fish. Today's primary target is bluegill, crappie, maybe if we're lucky some bass. So we're going to start at this little spot over here. This is a nice little lake. Right about a couple miles north of school. So we're gonna give it a try, see what we can find. Yeah, let's get fishing. My little combo I got for today. So like I said, I'm primarily out here chasing crappie and bluegill. So I got this little this little 1/8 ounce grub jig, and I got that sticked up to a split shot, and then just a little float set up. We'll find out what happens. It's a little loose. Joe's out on the other side with a spinner. Again, if we find some night crawlers, it'll also be huge. I just saw a huge bass over here. There was a big bass over here. It was probably about a 16-inch bass. It was just cruising along the shorelines. I can't believe that's my first bass sighting of the year. That's probably what hit my jig over there. Huge crappie. That was a giant crappie. Crappie just swam right in front of you. Look at that. Look. Look. Giant crappie. Giant crappie right in front of you. Giant crappie. Look, do you see him? Right there. Right there. That's a crappie. Right there. That's a big crappie.
Dude, that thing's huge.
That's a big crappie. That's a really big crappie. Dude, I might go grab my bobber over here. That thing's giant. That thing's humongous. That's like a 14-inch crappie. Hold on, I'm gonna go get my bobber. Dom's coming. He's on his way. I'll keep casting in that area. I'll just kind of just go off to the side a little bit. I thought I could get him, but apparently not. I didn't mean to interrupt your fishing. I just wanted to get that crappie, dude. Dude, he was nibbling at it. I mean, I think I found the right size jig. Gotta just keep it there. Joe. Joe, someone's got it. Yep, got one. What is it? It's a crappie. Hey. Look at that. Look at that. That is my first crappie in 2 years. Look at that. Look at that. That is my first black crappie in 2 years, since my freshman year. Wow. What a beautiful fish. All right, let's get him on the measuring stick. Let's see how long this crappie is. My first black crappie in 2 years. That is really awesome. Let's see what we got for a measurement on this fish. I'd say probably about 8 inches. 8.5. Wow. What a beautiful fish. Smack that grub jig. All right. We're not skunked, Joe. We are not skunked. Yeah, I do. You have any bobbers?
I might just cast it and retrieve it.
All right. Let's set this crappie free. Thanks, buddy. Off you go. There he goes. Look at that.
That's him at the tree. Oh no.
Broke?
Fall off right there. Dropped it right there.
Oh. I got another one.
Go?
Look at that.
Dude, I gotta use like
Whoa. That is a big crappie.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Look at the size of that crappie.
Eater right there.
Wow. Look at that. That is the biggest crappie I've ever caught.
That would be an eater.
It would be. Wow, look how... That might be the same one that I was looking at in the... Oh, wow, right in the lip. Right in the lip, too.
You just hook a bobber for that?
Yeah. Wow. Wow, look at that crappie. Look how beautiful that fish is. Look how dark he is. Wow, that is a really dark crappie. Well, that's why they call him black crappie. Wow, that is a nice fish. Let's see how long this one is. That is a really nice one. That is... Yep, 10 inches on the dot. Wow, that is a slab of a crappie. That is a slab right there. That's really nice. All right, let's bring him back down to the water and let's set him free. Thanks, buddy. Off you go. Wow, that is a beautiful fish. Awesome. All right, so this is my good buddy Dom. Dom, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
What's up? I'm Dom. I was teammates with Joe and Gavin on the football team at Worcester State. Pretty new to fishing. I used to go a lot with my papa when I was younger, but stopped for a while, just getting back into it. And yeah,
all right,
about it. Looking for some bass today. Hopefully we get some.
Awesome. Let's go get them. This is really nice. Look at this. See if we can catch some. See if we can catch some crappie over here. see if any crappie are suspended out a little deeper. I'll reel it in a little bit and then I'll just kind of just drop it. Maybe there's some crappie off this drop off. Can't even see my bobber. No, it's got a decent depth to it. Ooh, this wind is not helping. Got one.
Nice.
Whoa! Look at the size of that bluegill. That is a giant bluegill. Wow, you hit that thing like a freight train. You can dang near lip that thing. That is a wow, that is a slab of a bluegill. Very nice. Alright, let's go set this buddy back in the water. I don't want to hurt him putting him back. That is a slab of a bluegill. That is really nice. Nothing beats pan fishing in the spring. Beautiful. Alright, thanks buddy. Alright, let's go get another one. Joe, there's a bass right here. There's a big bass. Oh, he's looking, he's looking, he's looking. They're all looking at it. Joe, get me my Senko. Do you see him? He's right there, right there. Go get my Senko. Joe's gonna get my Senko real quick. Maybe. That is a nice sized bass. That is a really nice sized bass. Just give me my Senko. Senko, give me my Senko. I want to see if we can get some of these bass to bite. I just want to make as little noise as possible. I mean, some of these bass are like right there. Joe, one of my rods. Huh? No, the green one. Well, we didn't have much luck after Joe caught those 2 bass when I was scrambling to find my supposedly lost rods. But no, for a late April day, it was a pretty dang good one. 2 crappie, bluegill, and 2 bass. Not too bad. Well, thanks for coming along with me, Joe, and Dom on our little fishing excursion. And potentially we could have a surprise coming this weekend, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see you next time.